Hello everybody, welcome back to Online Racing League with me, Gio, George Morgan, also known as well. We are here for Hungary, and yes, I'm glad I am back, folks. I'm back. Of course, I missed the Earl Grey of British or World Motorsport after missing Silverstone last week, which was a real shame. I understand it was a huge Titanic battle, but we are here and back. We are here, and I'm alive, I'm well, and I'm ready for this big race we got here today at Monaco without walls. Hungary, and I've got to say I'm looking forward to this one. I'm also joined by the awesome, he's the Irishman, it's Jack Cannan. Jack, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. You could say I'm hungry for more. Way, had to get it in. Yeah, fantastic to be back. Great to have you back, George, as well. We've got a fantastic, again, another great race lined up for you because we've got all our esports favorites back here once again. Jarno Watmere, we've got Danny Moreno, we've got Matthias Colligan, and a certain Daniele Haddad coming in to join the fray as well. So Hungary, like I said, it's Monaco without the walls, and it's going to prove an interesting challenge for the drivers today.
Certainly will be, folks. Yes, you did hear correctly. Daniele Haddad, of course, one of the more charismatic people on the grid. He is here with us today in ORL, coming back after leaving ORL in Season 10. He is now back with us here this season, ready to take part against the best of the best here in ORL. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. We've got all your favourite names out there today, including the likes of Sven Zerner, Jarno Watmere, Alessio Di Capua, and need I say more, plenty of big names here, Matthias Colligan as well. It's going to be a real stormer. Only 15 drivers though, folks. Could be a little bit of a twist in the tail here, Jack.
Yeah, I think so. I think we can give one driver at least a free pass for today. That's James Baldwin, considering he was out racing in a real car earlier today. So James Baldwin not here. Tommy Pradzik is here. Lucas UK, his teammate. The Renault boys are not here, so we're missing, of course, Nicholas Longway, Fabrizio Donoso, and we are missing a couple of others as well. But the Haas boys as well. We're missing Simon Weigang and of course, Josh Idawu as well. We haven't seen Josh Idawu out on track in a long time. It'd be nice to have him back. And missing as well, Freddie Rasmussen for Red Bull as well. So there's a couple that are missing today, probably for whatever reason. But anyway, even with 15 drivers, we're going to get a hell of a show because we've got the big hitters. We've got Sven Zerner, Danny Moreno, Alessio Di Capua, who's been so impressive over these past 3 races that he's been racing. He picked up a podium last week, got second. He won in Canada, technically speaking, on track, but lost it to Jarno Watmere, of course. And Jarno, I mean, what can you say about him? The championship leader in the F1 Esports Series and leading the ORL Championship by, wait for it, 161 points, George.
The man is an absolute mystery. I gotta say, Dutchman Jarno Watmere, phenomenal. The Flying Dutchman, I like to call him, and he certainly has been that this season. There's Sven Zerner, of course, finalist of the F1 Esports Pro Series back in 2017. Very nearly beating the likes of Brendan Lee and Fabrizio Donoso, but it wasn't to be. He ended up becoming the 3rd place finisher in that championship as he crosses the line to commence his fast lap. So we'll join on board now with Sven Zerner as he makes his way down towards turn 1. Now this one, you're almost turning back on yourself. This is over a 90-degree right-hander, and as indeed as he makes his way around, just tries to slam on the power as soon as he can, comes down towards this next swooping left, this being turn 2. The very good overtaking zone this point as he makes his way on the outset, brushing the curb on the outset, taking this instant right-hander, heading up the hill. Now this one, very, very tricky. You want to hit the curb straight into the apex, into turn 4. On the outset, turn 5. And as you do so, you want to grip to the apex. Do not touch that rolling curb. It will spin you out. As you come down towards the next chicane, in it, like I suppose like a man possessed, straight through, instantly rubs the grass on the outset, heads around the next left-hander, on the next right. Here comes Sven Zerner, the German, looking absolutely formidable this season. Much improved on his efforts from last season. And this is very much a revitalised Sven Zerner here, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, picked up a podium in Monaco on his return as well. So he's already got the podium in the bag, but he's looking really good. Doesn't have a second Red Bull to help him today, though. But out on track now through the last corner. This is so tricky. It's a very late apex and on the power nice and early. Running to the line, he will set the benchmark for today. It'll be a invalidated lap, I think, for Sven Zerner there. And I think we're going to see quite a lot of that today.
I think we certainly can, as we now see Danny Moreno making his way up towards the fast left-hander. Indeed, of course, driving for McLaren Shadow in the F1 Esports Pro Series. And now he's out on a fast lap once again as Steve nails the fastest lap with a 1:13.431, at least for now. Of course, early stages here in qualifying, lots can change as, of course, the track starts to heat up. The tyres become more effective at the sticky surface that comes on the compound of the soft tyres or medium tyres, whatever you want to qualify on. Certainly a lot of these guys fighting it out for track position on softs. You will see faster lap times come into the classifications as Ben Szabo goes quickest with a 1:13.276 for the AlphaTauri team. Of course, Ben Szabo, former ORL champion, and looking to get himself back on the top spot in the world of ORL. As we now see Veloce Danny Moreno making his way down the stretch across the line, and it's going to be for Danny an invalidation of sorts. He does not record a time, so the Mercedes is going to have to go again, Jack.
Yeah, the invalidations for Zerner, for Danny Moreno, and for Alessio Di Capua as well. For those of you who are wondering in the chat who Simone H1 is, that is Daniele Haddad in the Racing Point. He also had an invalidation, so there's going to be lots of that today. And Nicholas Matteo also suffered one as well. He's about to come to the end of his second attempt here in the last sector. Massive slide from him through there. Manages to hang it through, but that will have cost him about 2 to 3 tenths of a second, but well held, and heads into the pit lane. Definitely going to back out of that one, but whoa, that was a hairy moment. But on the first runs, the only drivers who managed to set a lap time on their first attempt are your top 4: Ben Szabo, Steve Calcifer, and Matthias Colligon, who I think just put in a banker lap because that's not really on the pace for Matthias. But Ben Szabo currently your fastest man. Remember, Ben Szabo, he has got a pole position to his name. He took pole position in the wet. Now, it's not wet conditions today, but it might be interesting to see what he can do.
Yeah, certainly clear skies forecast across here in Hungary as we now see Danny Moreno come into the pit lane. Not happy, of course, with his invalidation from earlier on. Mr. Anker is out on track, though, for Ferrari. And certainly this won't be a fast lap. Indeed, he's coming into the pit lane as well, by the looks of it. So the Ferrari in the pit lane. Ruben Vallejo, the only car out on track right now on his out lap. And Lucas UK about to join him in the McLaren car as well. Joined by Tomek Paradzik, of course, the Polish driver who's still looking for that first elusive race win. He's a very talented youngster and has certainly shown to be a very, very good driver, of course, this season. He's been really prominent in amongst the pole position listings. He's come third a couple of times, including a race at Vietnam and also France. Surely it's only a matter of time before we see Tomek Paradzik on the top step there, Jack.
Yeah, and I think all of you will remember France as the biggest heartbreak in ORL, with Tomek leading most of the race, the perfect strategy call, and then getting a puncture with 3 corners to go in France, and almost had the win. That went to Fabrizio Donoso, of course, who's not here today, and neither is Nicholas Longway. But Tomek, it really is only a matter of time. I know he's good still from that result, but it took some solace in the fact that he was so fast around there. So Tomek is a talented young driver, and I'm sure he's going to be right up there. He's very consistent as well. But interesting to see now, we have Lucas UK in the other McLaren. He's out on mediums. Nicholas Matteo, we know he's also got a pole position to his name in Vietnam. I want to say that he got that pole position, and he's also going to have an attempt on the medium tires as well. It might be worth a couple of those guys just to see what they can do. If they can get inside the top 10 on mediums, that'll give them a huge advantage. Yeah, interesting strategy call there from Lucas UK and Nicholas Matteo. Let's see how this pays off, because obviously Lucas UK now making his way around the left-hander of turn 2, heading into turn 3 now, and jetting his way up this long straight up the hill towards turn 4. And as he does so, straight through, takes his foot off the power a little bit there. We haven't seen that a lot in this session, and runs wide indeed. So I'm not sure whether this will be a lap that he wants to bank as he makes his way down towards the next chicane. The orange livery of the McLaren bursting its way around the Hungaroring. Of course, Lucas UK known for use of racing line in the past, and I know he's trying to put away that that sort of view that people have of him. I mean, obviously not a very easy thing to do amongst all these drivers that use no assists, but certainly a very, very quick driver on his day, and certainly certainly a threat without any shadow of matter, that's for sure. As he makes his way around the next right-hander, heading round towards the stretch past the paddock, Lucas UK looking to set his first banker lap, and as he does so, comes across the line, and it's P4, 1:14.232. He can certainly improve on that, but on the medium tyres, that's not bad, Jack. No, not bad at all. He actually ran out of ERS coming out of the last corner, so there's definitely more time than that for Lucas. Not a bad effort, but that gives you an idea of the tyre deficit. He's a second off the pace of Ben Zabo. And I'd be interested to see now what Nicholas Matteo can do. He's run wide in Sector 2, but he's actually just saving up his RS4 go. You can just see Veloce Hayes, Matthias Colligan is about to have another go on a new set of soft tyres as well. And Steve sets a new benchmark of a 113.25. Interestingly enough, we haven't seen Jarno out on track yet. And I'm wondering, I guarantee you, he's going to leave it right to the very last second to come out and maybe give himself just one attempt to see what he can do.
I think he certainly will. I mean, obviously waiting for the track to become a little bit more on the hotter side. I mean, obviously to get the most out of his tyres, certainly as we reach the final 8-minute mark. Still a long way to go in the context of Formula 1. 8 minutes is a very, very large amount when you consider the rate that these cars go around tracks like this. Only takes around about 1 minute 13 for a car to get around this circuit. So we could see a 1:12, knowing the likes of Jarno Opmeer and, of course, Danny Moreno and Matthias Colligan, who is still yet to improve on his original lap time. He's currently waiting in the pit lane. Getone coming across the line as well, 1:15.431. Currently set for that man. Of course, a formidable driver. Last season, he was extremely quick, contending with the likes of Barry Burremand and, of course, Jarno Opmeer, who, of course, went on to win the championship. Getone would always be battling for that P4 spot and actually looked quite racy last season. And he's raced a few times in the B-split and has been very, very good indeed. He's actually picked up a few race wins, I believe, in his time in B-split. And he's come here once again, and he has still been battling amongst the best of them, which is always good to see. Certainly Getone is not someone you'd want to take lightly, even though he's in the Haas car, who've yet to score any major points in real Formula 1. And of course, they've struggled a little bit in esports as well. But I know Simon Vigang was elated after his 6th place in the F1 Esports Pro Series last week. And I can imagine there'll be more in the bucket list for Simon Vigang, that's for sure. But as we're now seeing Getone come in around the circuit now. Steve, his teammate here today. So Haas fielding 2 drivers here at the circuit of Hungary as they come down towards the next right-hander. And you can now see him just trying to brush each curb. Now, as we look up, you can see that Lucas UK is still out on track, yet to improve, though. I'm not sure whether he's going to be looking to come into the pit lane. He certainly is. So his lap is done. Daniele Haddad is out on track as well in the racing point as he makes his way around the next left-hander. Now, what's Haddad going to do here, Jack? This is going to be the first time we've seen him in ORL. Do you think he could lay down a marker?
Well, we'll see what he can do. First of all, I'm going to wait to see what Sven Zerner is going to do, because he's been on a flyer this lap around the last corner. So let's see if he can beat Ben Sabel's new benchmark, 1:13.0 for him. He comes across the line, and it looks like an invalidation again for Sven Zerner that time around. Now back to Daniele Haddad, though, and he comes into the pit lane, so he's backed off again. So these guys are going to leave it very late, and actually, you can see them all switching onto the mediums, George. Look at that.
Yes, we see a lot of drivers actually edging out onto the mediums, which goes to show that the pace might not be that different between the soft and the medium compound. Of course, we've got a very much a reduced grid here today. Of course, 15 cars, 5 less than what we'd usually have. So it's an opportunity certainly for those on the medium tyres. If you qualify in the top 10 on the medium compound, it's going to give you a great opportunity going into the latter part of the race. So it'd be interesting to see which drivers actually take opportunity of this. You'd imagine Jarno Opmeer, it'd be his first port of call. He's noticed a lot of the drivers doing the same thing. And of course, Alessio Di Capua is also having the same thing on his mind as well. So we could be seeing a real twist at the top here as we now see Danny Moreno run wide again. And that's the... I don't know how many times I've seen drivers running wide at that sector. Coming into what would be turn 11, we're seeing a lot of them coast over the track limit sector, and I think that's where a lot of the invalidations are occurring, as we now see Danny Moreno diving into the pit lane. Obviously another invalidation happening to him. It's amazing, really, Jack. A lot of these drivers struggling with this Hungarian circuit.
Yeah, that was a bit of a squirrely lap from Danny Moreno. He was all over the place in Sector 3, so I wonder, is there just no grip in these soft tyres? Because out comes Alessio Di Capua, who took his first pole position last week in Silverstone. So he's definitely got some pace in him. He's back out on the medium compound tyre. So I think there's going to be a big switch in the strategy here for all these guys switching on to the medium tyre, because it doesn't seem at the moment that the softs, they don't seem to be working too well on this particular circuit. But right now, Alessio Di Capua has got the whole track to himself. He's the only car out on track. And we'll see what he's able to do.
Certainly is. He's rounding this next right-hander, and Alessio, I've got to say, has been really impressive the last couple of weeks. He did unfortunately have a 5-second penalty added to his time at the end of Silverstone last week. which actually what it meant was that he fell outside of the podium places and therefore did not score the full amount of points that he could have done, and therefore I can imagine he's looking for redemption once again as he makes his way down towards the next right-hander, trying to heat up that medium compounder tyre as he makes his way around turn 12. Very soon he'll be coming up towards turn 13, this sort of hairpin bend, and once again you do not want to be clipping that curb because these sausage curbs have every opportunity to spin you out. And I can imagine that Alessio just wants to give himself the best opportunity possible in order to get onto pole position. As he opens up the DRS and heads down the straight, and indeed will start his fast lap. Here comes Alessio. We're right on board with him as he heads down towards turn 1. Alessio Di Capua looking to put his car back on top proximity. Remember, we've seen many battles between him and Jarno Opmeer this season, and certainly both of them seem to be the faster drivers in amongst the classification, even though Alessio, who has joined us in the latter stages of this season, he has looked absolutely unbelievable. Coming up towards the next left-hander, that being turn 4. He rides the curb, comes across it, looking ever so sweet. Coming round the next right-hander, that being turn 5. Heading down the stretch now. He has got a chicane beckoning, that being turn 6 and 7. Heads in deep on the outset, brushes the curb, keeps coasting across it, heads around to this next left-hander, heading around this next right. This is where a lot of people have been moving it wide as they come around towards the next left-hander. Down this quick right, where they've been getting it oh so wrong. He comes off the power a little bit, maybe a slight mistake there as he comes out towards the next right-hander, and as he does so, breaks in gently, straight out on the power now, heading down towards the next left-hander, that being turn 13. On the outset, gripping to every bit of apex possible. On the outset, heading down towards the final right-handed corner, past the paddock. You can see the pit lane on the right-hand side. The crowd's littered on the left, under the Rolex banner. Alessio Di Capua goes into P4, a 1:13.708. Not enough for the top end, but the fastest medium time we've seen this session.
Yeah, it's good effort on the medium tyres. So it was a nice clean lap from Alessio. We'll see now anybody else out on a lap. Currently, I think Matthias Colligan is the only other one on mediums who's on a lap at the moment, flying through that long right-hander, managing to avoid the invalidation, using all of the curb, taking plenty of curb, a lot more curb than Alessio took. So interesting to see the difference in lines. Again, Colligan a little shallower line through that long left-hander. Through he comes now, through the last corner. Gets it turned in, up shifts quickly, short shifts up to 4th, then up through the gears again. And here comes Colligan, and he slots in behind him, 0.3 of a second behind, 1:14.0 for Matthias Colligan, but plenty more laps to come. And out comes Jarno Opmeer.
Yes, he's leaving it late. He's going to go for a final minute and a half special, that's for sure. We've literally got moments left in qualifying. We're going to be seeing a real twist at the top last minute here. You can see Tomek Paratic just trying to coast his car around. Obviously not happy with his lap. This is basically another out lap for him, and will put unnecessary wear on those tyres. I can imagine that's why Jarno's left it late. There's your current championship leader, the Flying Dutchman, Jarno Opmeer, on the mediums with just under a minute left to go. Squeaky bum time here, folks, here in the ORL qualifying session. Any predictions from you, Jack?
No, actually not. I'm actually just on board with Jarno. He's doing something really, really interesting. He's riding around with the brakes on the whole way through, and down the second part of the after turn 1, he spent the whole thing. Look at him now. He's locking up his right front tire to warm the tires up, George. This is something unbelievable.
That is impressive. I've never seen anything quite like that. That's interesting, but obviously it must be something to aid him going through the session, unless it's his wheel being faulty, in which case we've called it wrong. But as he makes his way around the circuit, no, I don't think he will. He's got literally 10 seconds to get across the line, and indeed he's pushing now. If he wants to get a lap in, he's going to have to do it quick. I don't think he is. He's not going to make it. Seconds away, and literally P10 and onwards have not set a lap time. This is absolutely unbelievable scenes here, Jack. P10, Danny Moreno, Jarno Opmeer, Mr. Anker, Nicholas Matteo, Daniele Haddad, Ruben Vallejo not setting lap times. Unbelievable. Tomek Paratic is out on a fast lap. He can still go for it here. Ben Szabo is on track to getting P1 here. Look at there, Calcifer up in P3, a real jumbled up grid. I mean, I know we suggested reverse grid in Formula 1, but this is taking the mick as we now see Tomek Paratic coming around this next right-hander in the McLaren. Absolute scenes here in ORL here at Hungary. I cannot believe what we're seeing as we now see Tomek Paratic coming down towards the next right-hander, and as he does so, in the orange McLaren, looking to once again go quicker. I'm not sure if he has invalidated.
Sorry, George, sorry to cut across. It's a timing bug. They have got across the line. Checkered flag has not come out for them.
Wowee. So it is in fact the end of the session. Is that right, Jack?
Yeah, you can see now Jarno's on a fast lap. They're all on fast laps. So we still have a climax to qualifying still come. Jarno's pushing on.
Right, so we got a little time bug, folks. Apologies for that. On our view, it actually showed that the time was out, and there was indeed a bug with the system. But we are now seeing Jarno Watmere out on a fast lap, so there is still going to be an upset potentially at the top end of proceedings, as we now see Jarno Watmere coming down towards the next right-hander, indeed looking to once again tickle the top end with a P1 finish here in qualifying. Can he knock himself on pole position? Will the Flying Dutchman fly once again here in Hungary as he makes his way round the final right-handed curve? This final hairpin bend, turn 14, the line beckons. Jarno Watmere, the Flying Dutchman, P6 is all he can get, a 113.588 behind Alessio Di Capua. The battle will rage on here, Jack.
Here comes Danny Moreno. What can he do through the last corner? Can he topple them both? It's an invalidation for Danny Moreno. Mr. Ranke is going to be the last one. He backs off at the very end, but it's Bent Szabo on the pole. On the soft tires with Lucas UK next to him, but the fastest medium runner by just 400ths is Alessio Di Capua. But Ben Szabo, fair play, his second pole position of the year. He's taken it fair and square, but definite 3/4 of the grid have gone on a different strategy. But yeah, Alessio Di Capua versus Jarno Watmere versus Ruben Vallejo. Good effort from Ruben.
This is going to be absolutely fascinating here, Jack. Of course, we got literally the share of tyres across the grid. P1 to P4 only those cars donning the softs for this race here at the Hungaroring. Further down, 5th to 15th, all on medium compounded tyres. The strategy is going to be massive for this race, as we're now about to have a look at the classifications for this next race. But Ben Szabo is your pole sitter for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Absolutely unbelievable. The AlphaTauri driver on the top end. Lucas UK joining him on the front row there for McLaren. Steve in P3. Calcifer in P4. Alessio Di Capua P5. The front runner in terms of medium tyre compound drivers currently in P5. Jarno Watmere joining him there in P6. Ruben Vallejo P7. Nicholas Matteo P8. Daniele Haddad in P9, Veloce Hayes, that being Matthias Collegon P10, Sven Zerner P11, Getone P12, Mr. Anker P13, P14 Danny Moreno, Tomek Pradzik. At the back of the grid, P15. But we'll take a break quickly, folks, for an ad break. Welcome back, folks, here in the race for the Hungaroring. The session's just about to get underway. But, Jack, let's just talk a little bit about qualifying, because that was absolutely unbelievable. Some of the scenes we were seeing there, the compounds that were used, they were absolutely unbelievable. I could not believe what we were seeing.
Yeah, and of course it was a little bit exaggerated with the timing bug, but yeah, half the grids, so your front runners essentially have all gone on the medium tires, and we have got basically 3 compounded tires sat on the grid at the moment because Sven Zerner, Mr. Anka, Danny Moreno, and Tomek Pradzik have gone on the hard tires. So this is going to be so intriguing to see where those guys are going to end up at the end of the race. Those hard tires are going to be horrific in this first half of the race. The softs will be very fast, of course, but the mediums, those are the ones to watch. They're on probably the preferred strategy. But then again, we have had safety cars in the past that have helped out drivers. So it's going to be so intriguing to watch. Well, I'm interested to see what Sven Zerner is going to be like on the hard tires.
Yeah, I got to say, it's going to be very interesting. Certainly Hungary, we see it a lot, actually, when it comes to Hungary. The track limits can be so easy to breach, and at the same time, the track itself quite slippery. We see a lot of cars sort of treading offline, sort of losing traction, and certainly the hard tyres are not going to aid you when you're trying to combat that issue. And of course, Sven Zerner, the highest runner, P11 on hard tyres. Of course, when you're outside the top 10, you're allowed to pick what tyre you want to start on. Get Owned has got opted for the medium in P12. Further back though, Mr. Anker, Danny Moreno and Tomek Perantic all opt in for hard tyres as well. But your front runner, Ben Szabo, certainly no conflict as to what he's starting with. He has to start on the soft. So does Lucas UK, Steve and Calcifer. So let's see which strategy owns today. Could it be the ones on the mediums? And as I have a little suspect guess that they might do, or are we going to be seeing the soft tyres come out on top here, Jack?
Oh, I think it's too hard to call, but I think the mediums are going to be the strongest tyre today. It's just we wait for Tomek Perantic to come in. Watch out for him from the back of the grid.
Absolutely, the race will be starting now, folks, as the lights are about to go red. Here we go. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light! And it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! And indeed, as they get away, Ben Szabo the first to break, but the McLaren there on what looks to be Lucas UK, going toe-to-toe into turn one in behind. We have got Calcifer, who is joining the party, the Haas driver. That have been what looks to be Get Out, I think, joining the front as well. That's Steve, in fact, sorry, Steve is in front there of the Haas team there in P3. But in front, it is going to be Lucas UK leading the round, in behind Ben Szabo, who was on pole, relegated to P2. The Ferrari coming into play as well, that looks to be, and Mr. Anker, who's up at the top end as they begin to sort themselves out. Lucas UK is leading the Hungarian Grand Prix.
That was a brilliant start from Lucas UK, but crucially enough, behind, both of the Alfa Romeos of Otmir and Matteo have jumped De Capua off the line. So De Capua back down to 7th place. Ruben Vallejo, then Daniele Haddad and Matthias Colligon sitting in P10 where he started. The hard runners are now all together because they'll be struggling really hard in this first part of the race. But Lucas UK with a brilliant getaway. He's got it done, and now he can control the race as he wants. Calcifer just behind there, but Jarno's already starting to put the pressure on.
He is indeed. He's getting closer and closer. Even though he's on the mediums, he's ahead of his teammate Nicholas Matteo, and crucially ahead of Alessio Di Capua as they come down the stretch now. No qualms there. Lucas UK setting the fastest time after that quick getaway from the start. Ben Szabo in hot pursuit, albeit 8.5 tenths down on that McLaren. Lucas UK with the advantage. Steve in P3, Calcifer in P4 for the Renault. But I gotta say, Jarno Otmir is getting ever closer to these front runners. That medium tyre might be more effective than first thought. No surprises that loads of them have opted for this compound here early on. I gotta say, it's going to be crucial for these soft tyres to get away from the likes of Jarno Otmir and Nicholas Matteo as soon as possible. It's in their interest. They don't want to stay behind. The advantage on the soft tyre means they need to create a gap. That's how crucial it is, and it's not happening for them right now. Jarno Otmir is currently 6.5 tenths away and not far away from Calcifer, so we could yet see the medium tyres come into the race quicker than first thought, Jack.
Yeah, it looks like Jarno's just latching onto the back of Calcifer right now, and he's just within that DRS range. DRS will be enabled on this next lap. Matteo, he's sticking in there, but it does seem that De Capua has got more pace than him. He's kind of just stuck behind for now, but needs to be patient in this early part of the race. Penalties have been the downfall for De Capua in his season so far. He needs to keep his nose clean today because he's got a good opportunity of securing himself a podium. Across the line then comes Steve Calcifer with the fastest lap then as they come across the line for the third time. Here comes De Capua on Matteo in overtake move to the inside of turn one, goes late on the brakes in the Ferrari. Matteo looking for the cutback then, and he does get the cutback and not able to quite pull alongside De Capua. Lovely move on the brakes, no DRS needed, just clever ERS usage. He needed to get that done because he needs to chase Otmir.
Yes, he does, and certainly Alessio Di Capua has been very impressive this season. We spoke about him numerous times. This man has got pace. The Italian Alessio Di Capua now chasing Jarno Otmir, now looking to try and overtake yet another Alfa Romeo, but indeed Jarno is going to prove a trickier task. He leads the Pro Series, he leads the ORL Championship. This man is quick. He is already on the tail fin of Calcifer, who's ahead of him on the soft tyres, crucially enough, and indeed the medium runners enjoying a very much a free ride through the slipstream at this moment in time. Jarno knows he can afford to be patient, but he knows how much Alessio Di Capua fights in race conditions. He can actually make severe overtakes. We saw it last week. He's very aggressive from the outset. He loves to make overtakes. He overtook Donoso in very very interesting fashion last week. It certainly met the lines of controversy on numerous occasions, hence the penalty he sustained. But nonetheless, we love to see a battle, and these two will give it to us. As we now see Calcifer leading Jarno Opmeer around for now. Lucas UK still in front by 0.6 of a second. Long way to go as Jarno Opmeer comes up towards Calcifer. A potential late break into turn 1. No, but Calcifer locks up. Very crucially here, the Flying Dutchman on his tail cuts inside ahead of Calcifer into turn 1. Into turn 2, he's in front. P4 for Jarno Opmeer.
Yeah, just a small mistake from Calcifer on the brakes, and those softs are probably dead already, I'll be totally honest. They're not good tyres around here. So Lucas UK's got a penalty, Steve's got a penalty now, so Ben Sabo in the net race lead at the moment in time, but now both mediums are starting to feel very nice underneath the Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari of Alessio Di Capua, but he's got to now find his way through past Calcifer. He's caught him in the worst possible place in Sector 2 and Sector 3, which is the tight and twisty part of the Hungaroring. Through the long right-hander, now got to be careful not to run too wide here. You will pick up a warning, and he has to hang behind. He's going to wait for the DRS section, going to be saving the ERS, but you can see Opmeer now already behind Steve, behind Ben Sabo, and those softs look absolutely shocking in this early part of the race. You can see they're just losing so much time to the medium runners, so you can see why so many wanted to qualify inside the top 10 on the medium tyres. Calcifer will crucially have DRS on the car in front. Di Capua is going to be trying his best to pull alongside, but he's not close enough, and Opmeer's getting away from him.
Yeah, and you can see Alessio Di Capua literally giving everything to this car. He does not want to lose Jarno Opmeer. You can see the late break in the lockups, and Jarno knows he needs to get clear of Alessio. He can use these soft tyre runners, and he's just having a creeping look down the inside of Steve there, getting ever so close to the rear end of that Haas. And indeed, the Flying Dutchman looking for his opportunity as Calcifer runs wide. Alessio is all over the back of Calcifer. We got two of our quickest drivers here on the track, arguably our quickest drivers, Alessio and Jarno, both doing battle with their respective competitors ahead of them right now. Calcifer in P5, Jarno Opmeer battling with Steve, who's in P3. He can technically snuff out a podium spot this early in the race if he carries on the way he's going. Indeed, Alessio's thinking exactly the same thing, chasing Calcifer right now as they make their way through Sector 2. And as you can see, Calcifer now, he's a sitting duck. Alessio all over the back end of him. This Ferrari is ever potent, Jack.
Yeah, and it's almost a mirror image of what's happening up and just in front of them. You can see Jarno right on the back of Steve as well. He's pushing them through at the same time. You have Nicholas Matteo, Ruben Vallejo, Daniele Haddad, and Matthias Collegon and Get Owned. They're all in this big long train as they come around the last corner. Are there going to be any moves? I think it's going to be Opmeer on Steve down towards turn 1. Steve squeezes him to the inside line and late on the brakes. Jarno takes it up the inside. Flying Dutchman goes to P3. Di Capua goes a late move on Calcifer, and he gets it done through turn 1. Here comes Nicholas Matteo trying to pull alongside as well. Calcifer trying to come back at him on the outside line as they head through turn 3. Oh, a little touch from Matteo on the back of Calcifer, but Di Capua is ahead, and Opmeer has got it done.
He certainly has. P3 for the Flying Dutchman. His teammate trying to go up in tandem as well. Nicholas Matteo, who is yet to get his podium this season, has been so close yet so far. Ben Sabo running wide there at that crucial apex. Jarno Opmeer, the Flying Dutchman. These softs are not coping with this Hungaroring surface here. And I gotta say, it looks like the medium tyres definitely were the right choice. Jarno Opmeer literally right in the tail fins of Ben Sabo as they come around this next left-hander. Ever patient Jarno Opmeer looking to get a move done crucially here down the stretch. Can he get it done before the next right-hander? The AlphaTauri looking to defend all he can from this rampant Alfa Romeo. They come down towards the next left-hander. P2 up for grabs here for the Dutchman. Lucas UK in P1 still leading the contingent around this Hungary track. Lucas UK pitting early already here in lap 6. Jarno Opmeer right in the tail fin of Ben Sabo. A chance here, even though Ben Sabo's got DRS. The slipstream will be crucial. The Flying Dutchman rides alongside, comes up towards turn 1. It's going to be an instant lead in lap 7. Jarno Opmeer gets it done. He moves up a spot. He leads the Hungarian Grand Prix. Sorry, folks. He takes the lead. Ben Sabo relegated down to P2, but crucially enough, Alessio Di Capua, he's in P3, Jack.
Yeah, he mirror imaged the Jarno Opmeer move on Ben Sabo, went up the inside of Steve into turn 1. Now he's got to get past Ben Sabo, so the battle for the lead is certainly on now. Ben Sabo, I'm sure, is going to be pitting at the end of this lap because those softs are just shot. Look at the blistering on the left front of the tyre. And Di Capua is going to try here in the chicane. He's going to look, but it's going to be too hard to try and make a move. And already Jarno Opmeer's a second clear, so he's already broken DRS, so Di Capua just catching them in the wrong place. at this point in time. Now through Sector 2, he's going to be stuck behind here for a little while longer. And you can see as well, you can see Daniele Haddad banging wheels with Calcifer through there. You can see Calcifer is just falling by the wayside in that Renault. And it's those softs are just absolutely shot. And De Capua, look at this, he's just shoving Ben Saba through the corners. Ben Saba peeling off to the right-hand side, and you can see how much time that's cost De Capua. He's nearly 2 seconds behind Jarno Watmir, who leads once again.
Yeah, very smart move by Jarno Watmir, getting the car in between him and the soft tyres. Certainly that'll help him in his quest to build a time gap between him and Alessio. He's done what's necessary. He now just needs to focus on what's ahead of him here. Alessio Di Capua has a different thing on his mind. He needs to close up with the Dutchman, get in his slipstream in order to get an overtake done. But this man, the Italian, has been ever formidable this season. Nicholas Matteo as well, the other Alfa Romeo car in P3. Alfa Romeo on for a great day today. If this carries on the way it's going, Nicholas Matteo in P3, Ruben Vallejo in P4. Remember, this man has been sniping podiums all season. He's been so close on many an occasion. Ruben Vallejo, ever formidable in his Mercedes-powered Williams car as they come down towards the next chicane. Indeed, Jarno Watmir in front by 1.7 seconds. Alessio really hammering out at the Delta time right now. It's come but down by a couple of tenths already. Is the Italian going to get his chance here, Jack?
But he's certainly pushing on, and an interesting thing to note is that the hard tyres are starting to come to life now as well, because look, you can see Sven Zerner, Danny Moreno have caught up to get owned. They've caught up to Matthias Colligan and to Daniele Haddad. So the hard runners are coming into their own now as well. But Sven Zerner has got a 3-second penalty. Danny Moreno has no penalties. Tomac Prazik has got a penalty. So Danny Moreno is in a good spot here now for later on in this race. But the hard tyres are just starting to get into their working delta as well. Danny Moreno on the back of Sven Zerner. Sven Zerner has DRS on the car in front of him, so it's going to be very difficult for Danny to get alongside. And again, he's not able to pull alongside. But yeah, De Capua and Otmir matching each other for lap time at the moment, and it is going to come down to those pit stops. And I think De Capua is going to have to try something audacious to get in front of Jarno, because he's out in the front. He's got clean air, and he's formidable when he's in clean air. Ruben Vallejo picking up a penalty there as he came through the long right-hander. Just cut the track a little bit too much. Matteo and Vallejo running well in P3 and 4, but nice to see Daniele Haddad running well in the top 5.
Yeah, I do apologise, folks. That is my cat you can hear in the background. That's not me, as we now see.
Sure.
Daniele Haddad now chasing Ruben Vallejo now in P5. Currently 1.6 seconds in behind Ruben Vallejo right now. Certainly the medium tyres might also be going off sooner than rather expected. Certainly this track has proven to be murder on the compound. Certainly here on this circuit, the asphalt not taking to these tyres all that well, as we're now seeing Daniele Haddad trying to gather back on Ruben Vallejo. He certainly is closing at the moment. He's managed to snipe almost 2 tenths off the Spaniard's time. Looking further up though, Jarno Watmir still retaining that 1.6 second advantage and doing it extremely well. He's trying to check out here already early in this race, and you get to think that maybe the first stint is extremely crucial. Certainly if Jarno can get this done correctly, he can certainly spring a huge advantage on Alessio Di Capua as long as it's done right. But I gotta say, it's going to be a mammoth task on his hands. The Dutchman's got it all to do. Ruben Vallejo currently 4 tenths of a second closing on Nicholas Matteo, Jack.
Yeah, he's very close. He's closing up to the back of Matteo very, very quickly. And Ruben's having a very good race today, showing some really nice pace. Oh, Matteo was sideways up the hill, and that was spectacular. I don't know how he held on to that, but and again Vallejo sideways as well. They're really giving it a big old push right here as they come through all of these corners, just getting on the power a little bit too eagerly, but sliding a Formula 1 car, it is spectacular. But I mean, it's not exactly great for the tyres, especially when you're trying to bring them a little ways further into this race. But Vallejo driving well, but again, Daniele Haddad is closing in at a rate of knots to them.
Yeah, I think he's been watching a little bit of Need for Speed Tokyo, or I think it's Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, should I say, not Need for Speed. But yeah, certainly not your friend when it comes to Formula 1 racing, as it does degrade the compound of tyres. You don't want to have any flat spots, certainly around Hungary, where of course track limits can be ever so important, as we're now seeing Ruben Vallejo, who has lost time due to that slide, and by around about 4 tenths of a second, which is not ideal for the Williams driver. In behind, you've got Matthias Colligan trying to group up on Daniele Haddad, who is currently in P5 5 in behind as well. Getone in P7, currently half a second in behind Matthias Collegon as well. But the drivers seem to have certainly settled down now. Alessio Di Capua is still maintaining a 1.6 second gap between him and Jarno Opmeer. So there is still a lot of work for the Italian driver to do. Although there's still a long way to go in this race. We're only in lap 11 of 35.
Yeah, exactly. Di Capua is kind of just nipping a 1/10 of a second per lap, so very, very marginal gap between us. He's bringing the gap to 1.4, but you can see, if you can see the telemetry, Jarno Opmeer 50% DRS, Alessio Di Capua about 17% DRS, so Di Capua is managing. He's using up a lot more ERS, and he even said last week that's what he needs to work on. He needs to work on managing his ERS to the level that Jarno Opmeer is doing. So it's a fine balance that he's got to do. But at the moment, he's bringing the gap down slowly but surely, and that's what he needs to be doing. He's just chipping away a 1/10 of a second a lap. But it is very, very marginal between these two, and they're so evenly matched on pace. You can see down to 1.4 seconds that lap. Nicholas Matteo about 2.8 behind. So those guys are really in a world of their own at this point, George.
Yeah, he certainly is cutting it down, Jack. I've got to say, Alessio very impressively managing to cut it down by around 2/10 once again. He's now in the 1.4s, which is great to see. So we could yet see a real straight fight between these two juggernauts for the top end. Indeed, P1, Jarno Opmeer, Alessio Di Capua, P2. Certainly Alessio is giving himself, making himself a great advert for the future of F1 esports. He could yet be contesting with the best of them here. I know he's been to the Gfinity Arena before. He's got history in the competition. I think he's actually taken part in the Pro Draft once or twice. So certainly Alessio Di Capua, one to earmark for the future, as we now see Nicholas Matteo also coming into view. Ruben Vallejo still sparring with that of Nicholas Matteo. The Alfa Romeo and the Williams still yet to do battle together, though Ruben Vallejo might yet get his chance. Daniele Haddad has also come into the fray. He's also near enough half a second away from Ruben Vallejo, so he is making incredible time. So we could yet see another esports contender, Daniele Haddad, also pushing for a podium spot here, Jack.
Yeah, so he's dragging along these guys. Well, he's got Matthias Collegon right behind him as well, and Sven Zerner just hanging in there at about 1.1 behind Get Owned. But he's been dragging along Danny Moreno and Tomek Peradzik for the best part of a while here, and I think Danny Moreno is lining up a move on him actually as they come around the last corner. Sven Zerner, no DRS. Danny Moreno, he's trying. Sven Zerner looks to the inside, but again, Danny Moreno, he backs off the overtake button. He's not going to go for it on this lap, and I think he's just using Sven to drag him along here as they go through. They're going to go a long way into this race, and we'll see what they're able to do at the end. But they're just making sure they don't fight too much because they cannot afford to lose time.
No, definitely not. And you can now see Danny Moreno closing up on Sven Zerner every bit at a time. Currently 3/10 separating these two as they come down towards the next left-hander. And the black arrow donned by that of Danny Moreno. Of course, usually the McLaren shadow driver as they come around this next right-hander, not touching the curb. You do not want to touch that curb. It can lead to you spinning out as they come towards the next chicane. The Red Bull of Sven Zerner at the mercy of Danny Moreno as they come around this next left-hander. Sven Zerner not taking that corner very effectively there. He's left himself a little bit of a sitting duck as they come down towards this next left-hander. You get a feeling that Danny Moreno had to use a little bit of evasive action there to try and avoid the German, because it could have ended in curtains for the pair of them as they come around towards the next right-hander. And indeed another lock-up there from Sven Zerner. Little bit of smoke coming off those tyres as they come down towards this next left-hander, this being turn 13. Turn 14 will beckon the final bend before they head down the stretch. Every chance here for Moreno to make a stand here in lap 14, and as they do so, the DRS will become active. Sven Zerner, a sitting duck without the rear back flap as they come down towards turn 1. Sven Zerner still in front as they come down towards our hellacious first corner. No move can be made just yet, but Danny Moreno going deep. No move just yet. Sven Zerner hanging on. Still time to go as they make their way down towards turn 2. Sven Zerner looks in trouble here, Jack.
Yeah, certainly looks like it now. There's been pit stops. We've got Haddad, Vallejo, and Collegon. And crucially enough, slow stop for Ruben Vallejo, and Daniele Haddad has come out in front of him. So that is for a net P4 for Daniele Haddad. So great stop from the Racing Point guys. They brought him out in front of both of them. So now he is the lead driver on the new hard tyres. He's got a little bit more to go, but now we can go back to this battle between Danny Moreno and Sven Zerner, and Tomek Peradzik is just hanging in there watching.
He certainly is. He's literally just sitting tight, just waiting for a mistake to be made. Sven Zerner still in front by just under 0.3 of a second. They come around the next right-hander. The Red Bull at the mercy of the Black Arrow here as they make their way around this next left-hander. Look how close they are, making their way around that left-handed curve, heading down towards the next right-hander now. The turn 14, paddock on the right-hand side. The Mercedes ever close. Indeed, Danny Moreno with every chance here to make a devastating move. On the inside comes the Mercedes, cuts across the Red Bull. How many times have we seen this season? But this, as they make their way around turn 1, it is indeed Danny Moreno. He's up to P3 as Nicholas Matteo and Alessio Di Capua pit. It certainly has been a fascinating battle, and indeed on top, Danny Moreno, Jack.
It's not what Di Capua needed. He's come out behind Ben Sabo, and in the middle, he's just got out in front of Steve, but it's marginally. He's come out behind Ben Sabo, which is exactly what he didn't need when he's trying to push on an outlet, because Jarno Opmeer is going to respond to him. He's gone for the undercut, but not when he's stuck in traffic. He can't do anything. So Jarno Opmeer could end up gaining even more time on this lap, but Ben Sabo is the lead driver now. Di Capua chasing him. It was very, very, very close on the merge.
Yeah, Alessio Capua is getting ever so close. That is very crucial how that certainly unfolded, certainly the manner of pit stops. Alessio Di Capua pushing and prodding on the back of Ben Sabo, looking to get a crucial overtake done. Ben Sabo might have articulated this perfectly, at least for the time being. He is still yet to pit though, or at least he's got 6 laps amassed on those tyres, and they will take him to the end, so a very, very good stop indeed by Ben Sabo. Alessio Di Capua though on fresher combated tyres, looking to get a devastating move done here on the AlphaTauri, coming around this next left-hander. Indeed, as they come down towards the next right, this being the final bend before they start their lap 16. Ben Sabo still in front in P8 by the skin of his teeth. Alessio Di Capua will have DRS. The Ferrari, the prancing horse, comes up alongside, moves past, and indeed snipes it. P5 for Alessio Di Capua, showing off his pace. He's got to chase Jarno. He needs to dispatch these guys quickly. Jarno Opmeer next on his list in P4, literally 2 seconds away, Jack.
Yeah, so he actually didn't lose as much time as I thought he would, but I think Alessio would be closer if he didn't get caught up in the traffic. But Opmeer has come out behind now, essentially. The net race leader after the pit stops is Lucas UK, but we still have, of course, Danny Moreno and Sven Zerner out in the lead now. They started on those tyres, so watch out for those guys. They're probably going to go on to a set of the medium tyres, possibly even, I doubt they're going to go to the soft tyres. We saw how poor they were, so a set of mediums for Danny Moreno and Sven Zerner. They're going to be quick at the end of this race, but they need to push now. But Di Capua, this is the big one. He needs to push now because he's got a lot more temperature in the tyres, which is so crucial. But Opmeer, I think, is going to catch Lucas UK in the perfect spot on the front straight where you can slipstream pass with DRS.
Absolutely. We'll have to see how effective those medium compounded tyres are towards the end of this race. Certainly they'll be very effective for approximately the first maybe 12 to 13 laps, but it'll be interesting to see how effective they are leading towards the end of this Grand Prix. Lap 17 of 35, we're not even at the end yet, and indeed Jarno Opmeer goes past Lucas UK there, smoothly does it indeed for the Dutchman. P3 is as it stands. He's currently 7 seconds away from Sven Zerner, so still a lot to do, albeit Danny Moreno and Sven Zerner still yet to pit, so technically Jarno Opmeer holds the net lead of this Hungarian Grand Prix, so he's in the pole position spot now to claim a win here today. Need I say anymore? But Alessio Di Capua is trying to breathe down his neck, but he has still got Lucas UK to dispatch himself now, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. So Di Capua a little bit closer to the back of Lucas UK now. He's actually got within DRS in that one corner, so Lucas is on much older hard tyres right now, and Jarno is driving away from him as he's got to get past now. Di Capua, he'd be absolutely ruining that pit stop coming out in the middle of that traffic. He could have been so much closer, possibly even within DRS range at turn 1 had he not got caught behind in turn 1. But that's the fine margins you're talking about here in F1 esports. And there's our first retirement. Mr. Anka is out of the race in the Ferrari, so another DNF added to the list. And Danny Moreno pitting now onto the medium tyres. He's going to be fast now.
Yeah, Ferrari once again one-legged this season. They have yet to finish most of their seasons with 2 drivers, but indeed here comes Alessio Di Capua down the inside now of Lucas UK and gets it done going into turn 1. The Ferrari up into the podium positions now, chasing Jarno Opmeer once again, but he's given himself a great chance to get a podium here today. And I've got to say, a great smooth, well, pretty much textbook manoeuvre on Lucas UK now, who's relegated to P4. Absolute scenes here. Still more to come though, as we've just reached past the halfway mark here, Jack.
Yep, Sven Zerner still the only driver yet to pit, and he's out in the lead now by 5.3 seconds. His battle is with Danny Moreno, not with the guys behind. 17-lap-old hard tyres, and Danny Moreno, he came out in front of Tomac Peralta. He's got free air in front of him to push now to see where he can get. Interesting to see where he's going to be able to end up. But Sven Zerner, I'm sure, is going to be in the next lap to put on a set of the medium tyre, because he's losing a lot of time on these hards. And in will he come? He's going to go extend a couple of laps more for Sven Zerner. I wonder, is he going to make life difficult for Jarno Opmeer? Is he going to stay out and back him up into the Decathlon? We've seen this before, George, in Monaco.
We certainly did, and remember the controversy that was behind that. Of course, if you remember, I believe it was Tino Nakarunen and of course Nicholas Longe who were at the edge of that. Very rarely do we see a Red Bull and a Renault working together, but we certainly did that day, that's for sure. Though take from it what you will. We are very unbiased here in the comms box, that's for sure. I swear. But as we know, Sven Zerner leading the way currently. He is 4.5 seconds clear of Jarno Opmeer, who's currently in P2. Sven Zerner still, of course, yet to pit. But as the way things stand right now, Jarno Opmeer, obviously your net leader of this Hungarian Grand Prix. Alessio Di Capua in P2. Net P2, should I say. Lucas UK in P4. 11 laps amassed on those hards. In behind him, Ben Szabo, who, of course, was sitting on pole position. He is now in P5. Steve in P6. Nicholas Matteo, Jarno's teammate, in P7. Danny Eliadad in P8. So there's quite a divide in between the classifications here. Jarno Opmeer and Alessio Di Capua, they look to be the two front runners, at least for now. But the question is, what has Sven Zerner got up his sleeve for these front runners?
Let's see, he's going to box this lap and he's going to stay out. No, he's definitely staying out. So interesting to watch now to see what he does. He's going to just wait for Jarno to catch up to him, then box, but he's losing almost a second a lap to Jarno behind. Alessio, again, just kind of matching him. 1.9 seconds the gap is at right now. And Ben Szabo is sitting currently in that net P3. Actually, Lucas UK is essentially in the net P3, but after penalties, Ben Szabo will be in front. Steve latching on to the back of Ben Szabo. And Nicholas Matteo is on the youngest hard tyres of these guys, but he's now got quite a lot of drivers for company. He's got Matteo, Haddad, Vallejo, Colligan, Get Owned, and a very fast charging Danny Moreno.
Certainly has, yes, absolutely. Steve is actually 7/10 of a second behind Ben Szabo. We're now seeing Danny Moreno trying to close up on Get Owned. Remember, Danny Moreno is on 1 lap old medium tyres. Coming down towards this next right-hander. Get Owned is ahead of him. Matthias Colligan in ahead of him as well. Little bit of near enough oversteer there from that Black Arrow, the Mercedes of Danny Moreno. Mercedes actually fielding a very strong team today. Get Owned in trouble though, in jeopardy with Danny Moreno, the Black Arrow here trying to do business here at Hungary as they come around this next left hand. You can see Matthias Colligan in the sister car of the Mercedes currently ahead of him. They got this semi-stretch now. Here comes Danny Moreno down the inside, the charismatic Spaniard here once again making overtakes, taking names. He gets it done. P11, and ahead of him Veloce Hayes, also known as Matthias Colligan, his teammate in ORL, but it's far from different in the world of F1 esports, Jack.
Yeah, very, very good move from Danny Moreno there. And Sven Zerner has boxed for the medium tyre, so he will not come out behind all these guys now. Danny Moreno on Colligan. This is going to be fairly easy, I think, for him. Down the inside, Colligan does not make that hard for him. Actually opened the door for him and left him plenty of space for Danny Moreno to go through. Now, let's see what he can do. He could be, if he keeps the charge up, I think he could possibly nab P3 here, George.
Yeah, well, Team Veloce looking strong here today, that's for sure. Danny Moreno and Matthias Colligan both in tandem right now and looking pretty racy on their compounded tyres despite being down in Ps 9 and 10. Of course, the finish of this race is still very much under the question mark. Well, at least right now, Ruben Vallejo is next on Danny's list. He is literally half a second away from that Williams. Indeed, donning the Mercedes engine is the Williams. But certainly no friends here in the world of Formula 1 as we're now seeing Danny Moreno make his way around the next right-hander in P9, chasing P8 now, Ruben Vallejo. In ahead though, you can see Steve still yet to close the gap between him and the AlphaTauri of Ben Szabo, who is currently in P4. That is another one of your closer gaps as we're now seeing Ruben get it closer and closer to the front of Danny Moreno now as they head round turn 14, the paddock entry on the right-hand side. The crowd's littered in the stands watching on in disbelief as they now see Danny Moreno closing up on Ruben Vallejo. The crowds go wild here in Hungary as the DRS proves articulate here for Danny Moreno. A late break. No, not this time. Ruben Vallejo, late break there. A lockup has not helped him at all. They ride wheel to wheel down towards turn 2. The Mercedes strikes the front, moves into P8. Very cruising, as you like. Indeed, Danny Moreno is your P8 sitter.
Jarno's got a penalty. Jarno has got a penalty, and that's a rare sight in F1 esports. Now, De Capua is in the box seat for the win if he can hang on to the gap.
Absolute seats here. Jarno Watmir has got a penalty, quite rightly, like you say, Jack. Alessio Di Capua down on him right now by 2 seconds. Alessio is winning this Grand Prix the way things stand right now as they make their way down towards the next right-hander. We've lost Calcifer. Safety car is out. How crucial could that be? Jarno's just watching the race slip through his fingers at this very moment now. With the safety car coming out, it allows Alessio to close the gap. That penalty has become excruciating, Jack.
Oh wow, that's the thing. We had a safety car not too long ago in the previous round, and Sven Zerner. Oh, he could have waited. If he waited 2 more laps, or even a lap longer, he could have got that free pit stop onto those set of tires. But Jarno Watmir, oh dear, he got the penalty at absolutely the wrong time, and the safety car comes out, and now in comes Ben Savo, Steve, and Haddad, and they're certainly going to put on a set of the medium tires. They're not going to stay on the hard tires.
No, they're going to finish quick here at the end, and no surprises indeed. Half the grid pretty much coming in to stop. I see that probably a third of the grid. Of course, that being made up of Ben Sabo, Steve, Daniel Haddad, and of course, Matthias Kologon, Tomek Paradzik. You'd imagine that maybe they'll make a quick burst onto fresh medium compounded tyres, and they certainly do. There's the safety car. There's Alessio Di Capua, ever confident, the Italian. Trying to warm up those tyres. Jarno knows he has a battle on his hands. Now, Alessio does not have to finish first on track here. As long as he stays penalty-free, he could win this race on the basis of just being behind Jarno, or at least stuck behind his gearbox. So every chance here for the Italian to score rich here and get his first proper win of the season here, Jack. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Of course, Lucas UK is still within a shout, albeit he's on 15 lap on hards. He's going to have to pit, I'm sure. Well, if he wants to finish quick, he's going to have to pit. But Nicholas Matteo as well has also got a chance. He's only on 7 lap old hards.
I'll tell you who else has got a real chance. Danny Moreno, 4 lap old mediums, sitting in P5. He's got a real chance. Oh dear, Ruben, for ignoring yellow flags. That's a 5-second penalty. I'm sure that wasn't intentional from Ruben, but he's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flags. But now, Sven Zerner, brand new mediums. Ben Sabo, brand new mediums. Oh, this is going to get spicy, but Danny Moreno is in with a real shot of the win on those brand new, essentially brand new medium tyres.
Absolutely. It's a job to know who's going to benefit from this the most. I mean, I've got to say, there's plenty of drivers who are there waiting. It's almost like vultures around a carcass. They're all waiting to really stamp their authority on this Grand Prix. Just look how many goats we have on this grid order. Lots of these F1 esports contenders, certainly champions, that's for sure, with Jarno Watmir, who looks to have already sewn up the business here in terms of winning the title, certainly here in ORL. He is, of course, leading the way, but for how long can he make it happen here? Of course, Alessio's in P2, the young pretender, who has certainly looked ever formidable this season. The experience, he's done it before. He's been in F1 esports conditions. He's here today in ORL, looking prominent, and in behind, he's got the likes of Danny Moreno, who is, of course, driving in F1 esports this season, challenging as well for that winning spot. Answers on a postcard, please, folks. I don't have the answer for you. Post your predictions in the chat window, because I don't know who's going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jarno, 3-second penalty. Alessio only has 1 warning, so he's got a little bit of room to play with. But Alessio, compared to the first race where he picked up so many penalties, he's really cleaned up the driving. This is impressive from Alessio, and I think it kind of shows you how hard Jarno was pushing. If he managed to pick up that penalty, so Alessio was running him pretty hard. So fair play to Alessio, but again, the race is not over. Alessio could still pick up that penalty and then bring it right down to the wire. But Danny Moreno, he is in with a shout as well. On those fresh mediums. Sven Zerner, we know he's fast. We've got a bunch of guys on fresh mediums as well. We've got Ben Sabo, safety car. That was a quick safety car. It's in this lap, and prep for chaos, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it's all going to go off here, folks. We have literally got 11 laps remaining in this race. It'll be 10 laps by the time they cross the line. And Alessio Di Capua, you can imagine what he's got in his mind. He wants to overtake the Flying Dutchman. Bragging rights on the table here for Alessio Di Capua if he can get it done here today. Of course, he'll obviously win it on penalties if he stays closely behind and doesn't score a penalty. And then Jarno Opmeer running off wide there. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but he came off track into the grass. Alessio Di Capua doing the noble thing and letting the Dutchman through, or does he? He is staying on toe. Carnage here at the race here in Hungary, and indeed a wing damage. There's Nicholas Matteo, battles into P3. In behind, you've got the Flying Dutchman into P1. Alessio's round. Scenes here in turn 1. Carnage at the restart, and indeed Alessio down to P6. He has lost it, totally lost it. I do not know what happened, but the two alphas are leading the way here, Jack.
What on earth happened there? That was like a Mugello restart. Cars everywhere. I think Jotmu just lost it on the restart. Alessio went past, tried to let him by, and then there was a whole concertina effect down towards turn 1. But look at Sven Zerner's in P4 on fresh mediums.
Sven Zerner in pole position with a chance of netting a win here, folks. Not only that, Jarno's teammate Nicholas Matteo in P2, of all people, gets home currently in P3 as well, albeit on a lap on hard. He has got Sven Zerner all over him like a nasty rash. Sven smells blood here. He knows he's on a better compounded tyre, at least for now. We are within the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix. Fair recovery from Jarno Opmeer to get back into P1, but the carnage was so devastating. Alessio Di Capua relegated to P6 after a little collision. I'm not sure who got the wing damage, Jack, but it looked to me like someone had lost their front wing, as we're now seeing Sven Zerner getting closer to get home. He's going to make a move for P3 in the race. Comes down towards turn 1. Smoothly does it for the Red Bull. Gives him wings. He's on the podium step. Sven Zerner looks formidable here, Jack.
Yeah, Lucas UK was the one with the wing damage. I know Sven Zerner's pushing on, but he's got far too many penalties to win this race. He's got about 9 to 12 seconds of penalties when you add that on. So Sven, he's an outside chance. Matteo also has too many penalties to really challenge. So I think Jarno Opmeer may have just had Lady Luck on his side today, because I've never ever seen a restart as hectic as that, and it was all caused from him just getting a little bit out of shape. Alessio thought he was going, went past him, and then had to give the position back on the yellow flags, and then there was more drivers arriving at high speed and had to back off and ended up in chaos, and poor Alessio tried to move up the inside of Jarno Opmeer into turn 1 and then just lost it by himself.
Well, welcome back, George. Welcome back, Gio, to commentary in the world of ORL. What a restart. That was absolutely bemusing. I have not seen anything like that at all this season. I don't think we'll see it again. But at Hungary, like Mugello, you were quite right, Jack. It was like Mugello. And I've got to say, here at Hungary, a similar circuit of sorts. And we have seen, yet again, another catalyst of carnage here at this circuit of Hungary, as we now see Sven Zerner having a look down the inside of Nicholas Matteo. No way near enough time to get that done going into turn 1. But indeed, Jarno Opmeer still leading the charge. Sven Zerner in behind him. And in behind Nicholas Matteo, should I say, chasing that P2 spot. Still all to play for at this moment in time. 8 laps remaining here in this Grand Prix, folks. All to play for. Ever so close. This titanic battle of juggernauts here. Jarno Opmeer still leading the way by 7/10 of a second to his teammate Nicholas Matteo. But keep an eye on Sven Zerner. He is getting ever closer here, Jack.
Yeah, he absolutely is. It's just a pity that he's got the penalties. That's going to hinder him. Nicholas Matteo, by the way, has 6 seconds worth of penalties. So if he gets past Jarno, of course, he needs to pull 3 seconds, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, because Jarno's controlling this very nicely. But the man who really needs to get a push on is Sven Zerner. If he wants a chance at this, he needs to pull nearly 6 seconds to win this race. So Sven he's nearly out of contention, but it's certainly not over. And Ben Szabo's getting closer as well in those brand new mediums.
Yes, Ben Szabo looking to obviously score his first win of the season. Remember, he was a former champion and a decorated one at that. He has contested in the F1 Pro Drafts. He has been at the top end. He has raced in the Pro Series. He is certainly no newbie when it comes to the world of F1 esports. And indeed, a late break by Sven Zerner. My word, just clashed into Nicholas Matteo there, almost uprearing that of the Alfa Romeo driver. They're going into a titanic battle. Nicholas Matteo having none of that as they come round turn 2. Sven Zerner nearly taking out that Alpha, heading into turn 1. Sven cutting in on the inside, doing the switcheroo as they go out towards the next left-hander. Nicholas Matteo having absolutely none of it. He is battling back. He's not having this. A lock-up, a loss of front wing. Matteo's damaged. Here comes Get Owned. The Vultures are striking in down towards the chicane, but Sven Zerner is your P2 sitter, all by controversial means. This race has been absolutely titanic here, Jack.
Yeah, that's way too many penalties for Sven to have any chance. Matteo's got wing damage now, and that's allowed now Ben Zabel to close up to them as well. So Otmir is probably in the clear now if he keeps himself out of trouble. Sven Zerner is arriving at the rate of knots, but he's not going to be any competition really. He may take it on track, and there's the first penalty for De Capua, who's down all the way down in 11th place. He must be absolutely kicking himself. He's into the pit lane actually, and I wouldn't be surprised if this would be a retirement for Ferrari.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not ideal at all. They're already down one car, and indeed, as Alessio comes in again, carnage here going into turn 1. A battle here between Get Owned and Nicholas Matteo, who is not out of the front running here. Here comes Photon, also known as Ben Sabo, going down the inside, a double overtake heading into turn 2. A titanic battle of juggernauts ends with Ben Sabo moving up to P3. Daniel Haddad joining the party, moving up to P6, battling it out with Ruben Vallejo, and indeed gets it done. P6, Nicholas Matteo down to P5. Absolute seeds here in lap 29. My voice is going to be taking a hammering, at least for the next 6 laps.
We forget Ben Sabo, it's his home race. He wants to get a good result here. He is Hungarian, it's the Hungaroring. But Ben Sabo, beautiful double overtake, just backed himself off nicely as those two run around each other wide, and Ben Sabo takes P3. He has also got penalty, but Sven Zerner has got far more than he has. And Ben Sabo really on for a great P2 finish here. As here comes Haddad on the inside of Matteo as well. He's on the charge too. Side by side, Matteo's getting eaten up with the wing damage. Here comes Haddad on the outside. He's going to get outbroken here on the outside line. It'll be the inside line for Haddad. And Matteo will have to give that up, and it'll be DRS. I don't know actually who's going to get DRS off that. They were side by side through there. It's going to be Matteo who's going to have a go back at him once again. And has there been a problem? Oh, but that's Danny Moreno in the last corner, facing the wrong way.
Yeah, and here comes Nicholas Matteo battling back here on Daniele Haddad and gets it done. He moves at the P5. These two going at it like a pair of wild dogs here in lap 30 with 5 laps to go. Daniele Haddad is not done yet. Moves in on the outside, looking to cut it into Nicholas Matteo here like a knife through butter. Here comes Daniele Haddad on the inside. Crunching maneuver in through Nicholas Matteo, who's missing an end plate off his front wing. And it is, they come through the quick left. You can see the Williams joining the party. Just look at the congestion of cars here. Coming into here, lap 30, trying to battle for P5. Ruben Vallejo not leaving the rear end of Daniele Haddad. It is an absolute titanic battle of sorts, and I'm absolutely blown away by it. We have not seen anything like this all season, but nonetheless, it is absolutely fascinating. Nicholas Matteo still leading the way.
I'm sorry to cut across you. Ben Sabo has no penalties. He's on for the win.
He's on for the win. Ben Sabo in for a win here, folks. The man who won the World Championship here at ORL is in with a shout of winning the Hungarian Grand Prix, his home race of all races. He is on the tail fin of Sven Zerner. You get to think that if he makes the move on Sven, that is going to be the win. As he does so, he crunches past the Red Bull, the sister team, the AlphaTauri, gets in front. P2 for Ben Sabo. What an absolute dynamic performance here from Photon. He was on pole position, he suffered greatly, but he's back. It's going to be Ben Sabo, your contender for the race win here at the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yeah, Ben Sabo on a single warning. He's got to keep it between the lines now, but this is a spectacular effort from the young Hungarian at home in Hungary. When was the last time he took a victory? This would be a special one to take it at home. He'd even want to take it on track at least. He's on fresher medium tyres. Otmir's on 14-lap-old hard tyres. He's led every single lap of this race almost, as Jarno Otmir. Remember, Ben Sabo qualified on pole position, so he's in the boxy right now. He cannot afford to drop any more time though, because he needs to keep up with Otmir, which is no easy task. Because this is let's just remind yourselves, Otmir, of course, is the leader of the F1 Esports Championship. So Ben Sabo proving himself right now on those brand new medium tyres, a safety car helping him out as well. But with just about 4 to 5 laps to go, Ben Sabo, could he take a spectacular win at home?
Yes, F1 esports teams, are you watching? Ben Szabo looking to once again put a feather in his cap here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. This is his chance. He knows it. He cannot afford to blow it. 3 laps away from destiny here is Ben Szabo as he makes his way around turn 1. Is that long-awaited race win yet to come here? Full photon Ben Szabo looking to get the job done here. P2, 1.5 seconds the gap. It's enough at least for now. In behind Sven Zerner, half a second away from him. Get owned in P4. Ben Szabo knows what he has to do. Can he do it though? It's going to be a real battle, a real war of attrition, and these two are going to be going at it like a pair of wild dogs. I know I keep saying it, but that's exactly what this is. We've seen it already several times. Tussles at the top end, never-ending, titanic battles, and indeed it's been absolutely superb, albeit I might have to take another sick day next week, Jack.
Don't take it too long, but for sure, this has been a spectacular drive anyway from Ben Szabo. Let's see if he can do it, if he can take it on track. That'd be even more spectacular if he can take it. So we'll see what he's able to do, because of course there is a chance that Jarno could get that penalty removed post-race. So for now, Ben Szabo will take it on track, but it could come down to Jarno getting the penalties removed depending on the circumstances. So for now, Ben Szabo anyway will take the win on penalties, but it could come down to something after the race. So Ben Szabo, I think he's going to get a push on and see if he can take it on track, because if he takes it on track, then that's a real morale booster.
Yeah, we are actually hearing, Jack, I'm hearing a word in my ear at this moment in time, some latest news or some latest gossip. Jarno Opmeer was given a double warning for one corner, which could have led to him having that penalty in the first place. He hasn't had one since, apparently, so it could still be the case that if Jarno can fling through an appeal, he could still effectively win this Grand Prix, given the fact that obviously 2 warnings equated to that penalty that he received. So very likely we could end up seeing the Dutchman contesting for a race win after all. But Ben Szabo still in touch. He could win this on track on the basis that the penalty will be applied in this race format, but it yet could be contested by Jarno Opmeer should the stewards agree that with the statement that the penalty or the warning was duplicated in error. A game glitch potentially hampering Jarno's race.
Exactly, but for now, we're going to go off the basis that there will be no change in the results, because that's what we can see on our screens, and it'd be even nicer to see Ben Szabo take a spectacular win. And I know it's a little bit late in the race, George, but it has just got suddenly very dark.
Surely not a spell of rain towards the end here, Jack. Drivers having to pit for wet weather tyres with 1 lap to go? Surely not.
Nah, I think we're just thinking a little bit too much there. But it would be fun. It would be fun to see them trying to struggle around on slick tires. But yeah, it's definitely getting very dark around the Hungaroring. We're definitely not going to get the rain that we desired.
No, not at all. Certainly, we don't need any more spanners in this work. Certainly, guys, we've already seen enough drama here today. Jarno Opmeer still leading the charge, 1.4 seconds. He will be crossing the line in front. But the question is, will he be winning this race? Currently, the way things are sat right now, the penalties and the way they're dished out, Ben Szabo is going to win this Hungarian Grand Prix. And as they make their way around the next right-hander here in Sector 2, round the next left, Jarno Opmeer leading them round. But Ben Szabo in hot pursuit, looking to get the job done on the day, giving himself the best chance for a P1 finish as he comes round towards this next right now, down the stretch, heading down towards this next swooping left-hander. This, of course, being that dynamic hairpin before the final corner past the paddock. Turn 14 beckons. Jarno Opmeer is about to cross the line. It's going to be P1 at least for now, unless Ben Szabo has something to say about it. He crosses the line first. Ben Szabo in P2. Jarno wins the race. Sven Zerner in P3. Jarno Opmeer is your race winner here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Absolute seeds here, Jack.
George, it's the last lap. It's not finished yet, George.
Whoops. Right, I'm blushing.
Still one
the last lap. Unbelievable.
Still one more to go.
Right,
we'll chalk it up to you. We'll chalk it up to your illness.
I need an extended holiday. I've never done that before. Unbelievable. I'm pinning that onto COVID, guys.
Yeah, blame it on COVID. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're 100% on the last lap now as we come through Sector 2. So the checkered flag will come out on the end of this lap. You can see actually Daniele Haddad has just taken P4 for get owned as well. So Daniele Haddad could be on the podium after Sven Zerner's penalties, and there's another one for Sven Zerner. But here we go through the last sector for the final time. It's been a spectacular drive from Jarno Wotmir, and we think he's going to hold on to this race win after the steward's inquiries with the double warning. But nonetheless, we can't take anything away from the young Hungarian coming up behind him. Jarno Wotmir wins on track, but Ben Sabo wins the Hungarian Grand Prix on track with a brilliant drive. Sven Zerner will hold on to P3, but he won't because Daniele Haddad on the podium, but Get Owned will get on the podium. Brilliant job from him. And Daniele Haddad P4. Tomek Peradzik, what a recovery from the very back of the grid to P5. But Danny Moreno, Ruben Vallejo, Sven Zerner down in P8, Nicholas Matteo and Steve will cross line in P10. But what could have been for Alessio De Capua after the safety car restart? But for now, provisionally, it's Ben Sabo your winner.
Yes, but I got to say, rumour has reached my ear that they're going to be doing one last lap or hot lap for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I've just heard that now. No, that is genuinely your race winner. I do apologise, folks. I've never done that before. That is mental. Obviously, I need to learn how to count. But indeed, Ben Sabo, at least for now, is your race winner. And I got to say, much deliberation will be made of that in the steward's room. I'm sure Jarno Wotmir, as we start seeing some selfies being taken by the AlphaTauri driver. What a win for Ben Sabo, his first of the season. A real fairy tale finish. Ben Sabo is your race winner. Jarno Wotmir in P2. A phenomenal pairing there at the top end. Get Owned in P3. Daniele Haddad, a titanic finish. P4 for that man in the Racing Point. Tomek Peradzik into P5. Starting from the back of the grid, Tomek Peradzik. Phenomenal effort. Danny Moreno in P6. Ruben Vallejo P7. Sven Zerner P8. Nicholas Matteo P9. Alessio Di Capua P10. Stephen P11. Matthias Colligon P12, Lucas UK P13, Calcifer P14, Mr. Anchor P15. He rounds off the rest of the grid order. Of course, they were DNFs towards the end there, to be honest, folks. But amazing race. And yet again, a Titanic battle filled with action. It just never fails to amaze, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, a really underrated drive from the Austrian Get Owned. 12th on the grid to 3rd. Really good job from him. No penalties as well. But Sven Zerner, 21 seconds of penalties. That's a lot of time to lose on track. But down the back, Alessio De Capua finishing in P10. That does not tell the story of the race after that safety car restart, which was the most confusing thing I've actually ever seen. I'm sure that'll be in the steward's room. But obviously, we're going to hear from the driver shortly, and I'd love to hear about the safety car restart from those guys. And I'm sure there are going to be stewards' inquiries as well. But it's great to see a new name at the top of the list, and Ben Sabo at his home race. I mean, that's special.
It certainly was. I got to say, an interesting race, Jack. I got to say, I don't know what to call that myself. All I can say is scenes, absolute scenes. I got a feeling the stewards are going to have a real Titanic battle to try and pick through that and sort of put together or pin together as to who's actually won that Grand Prix. And I got to say, the racing here never fails to amaze here at ORL. We do see headlines for various different reasons. Of course, I've put myself as probably the mug of the day after that. I can't believe that.
Somebody click that, please. I'm never letting that go.
Well, to be honest with you, it's on stream now and it can't go, so I'm stuck with it. Unfortunately, I'm sure TRL Limitless, who's in the chat right now, will probably incorporate it into one of his videos. I'm sure, but I can't know. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Hi, Mom.
Oh yeah, I know. Don't encourage him. But no, phenomenal scenes. But guys, like I say, phenomenal race. We're obviously going to be waiting for the drivers to come in for interviews now, and like you say, Jack, we've got to sort of discuss the safety car restart. That was unbelievable. None of us were expecting any of it. Obviously, Jarno Wotmir, it looked like he hindered his result by the end of that because obviously there was that little issue which led to him being brought back in the line of Alessio Di Capua. It looked like Alessio's race going into the restart, the safety car due to the penalty being applied. Oh, it's going to be a fascinating question to ask, isn't it? As to what was going through their minds at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we can obviously overlay the Mugello restart in F1 and that restart, and it's pretty much the exact same. I'm not quite sure what happened just before the last corner because I was actually checking the race director at the time for penalties at the same time, so I only saw about half of it. But it definitely looked like Jarno had a little bit of an oversteering moment, or I think possibly a miscommunication between himself and Alessio. And Alessio went, then realised that the green flag hadn't come out yet and backed off, which then caused problems for the drivers behind who were arriving at a very high speed after the green flag did wave. And unfortunately, it was Lucas UK, who rammed into the back of somebody because of the overspeed. So it was a bit of a miscommunication. And then the incident in the first corner was a little bit strange, with De Capo then spinning after contact. So it was a bit of a mess. I'm sure the stewards are going to look into it. But we at least then we'll let them do that rather than us, because we couldn't really tell. We have two drivers actually standing by there, George, for interviews.
Yeah, we certainly do. Danny Moreno is standing by, and so is Ruben Vallejo. So we will be pulling those guys in for interviews, and very much looking forward to seeing what they have to say. Certainly in the realms of certainly considering the battles that were going out on track, and not only that, obviously the safety car quizzing. Obviously we got all three of them here now. Let's start, of course, with Danny Moreno, and I can see he is with us. Danny, are you there? Don't think he is.
No, he's muted.
He's muted. Is Ruben or Sven there? Ruben or Sven there? No. Muted.
Great.
Okay, this is going well. No, Danny's here. All right,
Yeah.
Danny, how are you?
Well, not really happy, to be honest.
No, well, talk us through that race, because of course it was so much going on through that one. Of course, a very different race to what we're used to in ORL. Talk us through it. Obviously, we had the madness of the safety car, and then the battle out on track after the safety car. There seemed to be a lot of confusion, a lot of mentalness. Just want you to talk us through that race and just go through it with us. What were your thoughts after that Titanic duel?
Well, to start with, I messed up qualifying. That's why I started really low. And then the race, I knew it was going to be difficult. I went for the hard medium strategy and got really lucky with the safety car, because it meant I was on mediums and I had the top 4 on hards. So it looked like it was going to be a win. But yes, and then some drivers decided that it's better that I don't win or something, because I don't know what they were doing, to be honest. And yeah, first I saw Alessio in front, tried a move on Jarno. He outbraked himself, hit Jarno, spun, and I had to go onto the grass to miss him. And then once I was at the back of the group and I started moving forwards, some other driver decided that my car didn't exist on the track, and put me out of the race.
Yeah, it certainly was not the race, or certainly not the plan that you probably intended to go into a race such as this. But nevertheless, the overtakes you were making, you looked like a formidable force out there. Just talk us through, obviously, into that second half of the race where the stops were made. Obviously, the early battles, was it just a case of you had to get the bit between your teeth and sort of really push to get your way up the classifications? Because you were on a rapid rise towards the end of that race.
Yes, it's a really hard track, especially to manage the ERS. So I was all the race managing the ERS. For all the race, I had plus 80, because I knew I was going to get to that situation where I was on the mediums and the guys in front were in hards. And obviously I needed all the battery to overtake them. So yeah, I had all my battery. I had more pace. I started making the moves. Then the safety car came out, which meant I could potentially win the race. But got really unlucky towards the end.
No, fair play to you, Danny. You really gave it a real good go. Obviously, just didn't go your way at the end of the day, which is a real shame. But obviously, talk us through the whole thing with the McLaren Shadow team at the moment. Obviously, you've been putting a lot of work in up to this point, and just how's the feeling in the camp at the moment in terms of F1 esports? Because I know yourself and James have been working hard. How are things going with the team at the moment?
Things are going really good. I think we are still not where we want to be. Obviously, performing under pressure in qualifying, I think it's the hardest thing out of everything, because then in the race we showed many times that we have the pace. So hopefully with experience and a bit of work, we can get those qualifyings to get better, because we know that if we get a good qualifying, we can be up there in the top 5.
Yeah, well, super duper from yourselves, Danny, and good to see you up there battling here today. Obviously, like I said, didn't go your way, but I'm sure you'll be back up there fighting again soon and challenging for the race wins. We'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you. We'll move on next to Daniele Haddad. Of course, joining us here for the first time in ORL, at least since I've been here. Of course, he was a former driver here with this league. Daniele, how you doing?
Hello, mate. Nice to see you.
Yeah, and
Nice to
you,
see you all.
yeah, a long-awaited meeting, certainly with yourself, Daniele. I've never had the benefit or the pleasure to speak to you before, but obviously I'm been very much looking forward to this since the guys in ORL told me that you would be joining us. But just talk us through that race, because it was hotly competitive, and you were right in the thick of it, I suppose. A very strange qualifying session of sorts, obviously. I think a lot of drivers leaving it late. Just talk us through that race, because you were right in the thick of it, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, actually, is the first league race that I've done in this F1 2020, and actually also in 2019, I believe I didn't do any league race. So I was in the afternoon. A guy on my streaming was telling me that probably a lot of people would have started with mediums, while I was sure to go for soft. So it was a bit of a surprise also for me. Was interesting anyway, trying to do with mediums, even if my lap wasn't really good. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't really amazing in the quali. But the race was really, really fun to drive. I enjoyed a lot of battles, safety car in the middle, and decided to go into the pit to try to overtake a bit of karts. And honestly, I believe it was also the best strategy to do in that point of the race. And yeah, I mean, I hope you could have seen some overtake also in live and have a good fun with me as well.
Yeah, we certainly did. We caught quite a lot of it. Certainly, that midfield battle seemed to be very competitive in amongst yourself. Obviously, talk us through that safety car restart, because you seem to benefit quite well, moving up into P4 towards the end of the Grand Prix. So it looks like you did quite well off that restart. Was it literally a conscious effort that you had to really sort of let loose at that restart and try and hammer home a positive result?
Yeah, I knew that in that point of the race, I mean, I would have had one of the best tire compound compared to the others in front. And just the one that started with arts actually had the luck to go longer and have the safety car in the perfect moment, no? So obviously, I had some guys in front of me with same tires as me, and was complicated. The others, I obviously had a bit of advantage because of tires, and so I knew it would have been 10, 12 laps really fun to drive. And yeah, I mean, without safety car, I don't know where I should have finished. I believe more or less around the same place. But yeah, I had a good fun at the end of the race, and P4 is alright. I mean, at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, been watching you, so I'm going to head you onto esports now. Obviously, we've been watching the Pro Series. You're a passionate guy, Daniele. We've seen obviously yourself when you get into qualifying, you get really excited and super, and it's great to see. Obviously, how have you found your F1 Esports Pro Series campaign this season? Has it been a positive one? You felt the team have been strong. I know yourself and Lucas have been really trying to work hard to try and galvanise some good performances, and you have certainly seemed up there for pace. Just talk us through it. What's the confidence like in the camp right now?
Well, I believe actually is more or less the same problem for the guys that are around fighting to try to be in Q3. I believe apart from Alpha and Red Bull that are dominating the F1 esport this year, I believe the others more or less are fighting to try to take the last spots in Q3, no? And obviously it's complicated. I mean, the reality is that being 20th in F1 esport is incredibly difficult anyway, because 19th, sorry, 20th is easy. You don't go in track. But it's complicated because, I mean, you have seen in Austria in Q1, 2 tenths between the first one and the last one. And actually 2 tenths is really easy to lose, wheel spin or whatever. So you need to have a lot of confidence. Of course, I'm a passionate guy, and so obviously I want to try to improve myself. I know that I have something to learn to be where I want. I believe that if I'm there, I have the capability to do what I would like to do. So trying to be as much at time as I can in Q3 and fighting for a good result. The race pace is really good. Quali pace is to improve. Me and Lucas are working hard, not just us, but even Shanak as well. And we hope to find good results for the future. And yeah, I mean, we try to be confident, but I believe that yeah, I'm there because of passion. So I'm glad to have all that emotion whenever I race.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had a smile after seeing you get through where you did in quali. It was very impressive, I got to say, and you've certainly worked.
Yeah, in Vietnam.
Sorry.
In Vietnam with
Yes,
loose tire.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I was watching it on my television screen. It certainly was a good moment to see. But Daniele, last question. Are we going to be seeing you week in and week out? Is Daniele, her dad, making a return to ORL?
Well, for sure, I'm gonna race again. I have no idea if I'm gonna race now next week. Obviously, as you know, we have esports arriving in 10 days. So the problem was more or less this. I mean, most of the time Sunday I take it like a break. I take it like a relaxing day. Obviously, because of COVID and all the situation at the moment, I need to stay at home and like everybody. And so racing also Sunday for fun is absolutely something that I would like to do and to continue. So. Cannot guarantee before the esport, but for sure in the relaxing Sunday evenings, why not? It's something that I really like, and I want to face at some point that guy with the Alpha. I don't know if you know his name. I believe somebody called Jarno.
Oh, right. Oh, that guy? Oh, no, I don't know who he is.
No, never heard.
No.
Yeah.
No, is it Sot Lapper? Is it?
I don't know him, honestly.
I can hear him. I can hear him literally getting angry in his microphone.
I know that I can fight with him. I mean, but no. I'm looking forward to be with him on track. I know he's an incredible, talented guy, and yeah, I'm looking forward to have his name close to mine and maybe having some good battles.
And his head is massive as well. But yeah, congratulations to you, Danny. No, I'm joking. Calm down. All right, stay in your seat. Wait your turn. No, congratulations, Daniele. Great to see you on board here, bud, and look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great
so much.
for me as well.
And now we'll
Bye-bye.
move over to great to see you, mate. We'll move over to Mr. Big Head now, the big head Dutchman.
George, stop talking.
No, I'm joking. No, honestly, Jarno, Jack is going to ask you questions now. Not going to be me, I promise. But yeah.
Yeah, George, back in your box. Good luck. Right. Jarno, great. And another win, I think, in the cards after the stewards' inquiries, of course, with the double off track. But yeah, let's first of all, I want to ask you about that safety car restart, because that was almost like Mugello in this year's F1 with craziness. So just talk us through what happened there, because it was a little bit unusual.
Yeah, so halfway through the second last corner, on the F1 game, you have a throttle limiter behind the safety car, which is really annoying when it suddenly turns off halfway through the corner. And that happened to me. So, yeah, I had like 50% input throughout the whole corner to get up to speed, and then suddenly it went off. And on old cold hard tires, that was a bit too much at the time. So, yeah, that's what happened basically. And then I lost the car. Luckily, I managed to stay on track with at least a wheel, so the overtakes made on me were illegal. And then I could get it back, luckily. So then by the time I reached turn 1, I was back into first place. And then Alessio came out of nowhere on my inside, not making the corner. And then we hit, and he spun, I think. So I have no idea what happened after that, because I had to go massively wide, so I couldn't see a thing. So yeah, that's what happened basically.
So yeah, a bit of a race of attrition, but apart from that, it was kind of a comfortable race for you. I know Alessio was chasing you down pretty hard, but you were able to make the alternate strategy work on the medium tires. So I think we're going to see a 10th win chalked up. So we're closing in close to the championship now. So I mean, we're over halfway through. So I'm sure I'm going to ask you now: how have you found? How would you rate yourself overall this season?
I've definitely made some mistakes in a few races. So, but on the other hand, I also had great races. So I would give myself a 9. Not perfect, but definitely really good. I think one of the mistakes was today behind the safety car. And other one top of my head was Vietnam, where I basically had the win ready after 10 laps, and then lost my front wing overtaking Josh at the time. So yeah, definitely some mistakes, but on the other hand, definitely some really good races as well.
Hey, Jarno, just to say, I just wanted to, we all make mistakes, Jarno. I called the winner a lap early, so you're not on your own.
Yeah, enjoy that clip.
Don't watch the stream, whatever you do.
Yeah, No, do please. So final, final kind of question from me, Jarno. Obviously, F1 Esports, the second kind of wave of races just gone through. You're still at the top of the standings. Another solid couple of races from you. 4 wins in the bag right now. I mean, you must be on a fantastic wave of momentum right now. So just what's the emotions like in the Alfa Romeo camp right now?
Yeah, I mean, one side is happy. I think Danny wasn't completely happy with his performance in the second event. I managed to gain, I think, capped Kiefer for another 3 points, so I think it's 27 points now. But yeah, it's still, as I said in event 1 as well, it only takes 1 race for that to be gone. But yeah, Austria was obviously very, very difficult. Same for Zandvoort, actually. Having to battle 2 Red Bulls and 1 Alpha Tauri wasn't really easy. But yeah, I think with some good tracks coming up for Danny, I'm quite sure we can get the momentum back in the last 2 events, constructor-wise. And yeah, I'm also really looking forward to the next few races as well. So yeah, I think that's very important, especially in qualifying where it's so incredibly close. I've really struggled in the first parts of qualifying to go through on just one set of tires, which I haven't been able to do so. So yeah, usually I'm up there in the last run of qualifying 3, which is important. But it will be nice to have 2 new sets tires left in qualifying 3, and I didn't have 1 qualifying last event. I was be able to do that. So yeah, I'm happy, but it's definitely not how I want it to be yet.
Oh, good stuff. Well, Jarno, thanks for speaking to us. I think we're going to see a different inquiry, so we can provisionally probably call you the winner of this race once again. But best of luck again in the next F1 Esports round, and I promise George will never interview you again.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jarno.
He knows I'm going to interview him again. Don't talk rubbish. Right, we'll move on now. Next on the list, we have Sven Zerner. Sven, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, well, I don't know yet. Maybe a bit red in the face after calling the race a lap early, but never mind. It happens, doesn't it? But yeah, no, amazing. I got to say, the race was absolutely extraordinary. And certainly on your part, you were pretty much mixed up in quite a lot of heated battles on track. Certainly, I think one of the biggest ones was between you and Nicholas Matteo. Just talk us through your race. I mean, obviously, everything seemed to change like a flick of a switch when the safety car came out. It just caused chaos, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I was having another fun race without practice again, so I had to learn the track limits while racing. That's a bit harsh, and that's why I have so much penalties. But I didn't care about penalties. I just wanted to have some fun. And so yeah, at the end on the track, I was P3 because of the safety car. And there was a crash at I think lap 25 or something. I missed it about millimeters. It was so close. Yeah.
Was that with the Ferrari span? I think with Alessio. Was it that one, or where they?
I think so. Directly when the safety crew rejoined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it because Alessio span after turn 1. I think he collected a couple of cars. I think I thought for sure that you would be one of them, to be honest, because you were right in the thick of it. But
yeah, I was, and I managed to avoid it.
That Red Bull nearly gave you wings, mate. After that, you nearly went flying off the track. But no, it was quite strange, quite different, that race, I got to say. Obviously, yourself, I mean, you were up there. I mean, you looked like you were in a surefire position to get a good podium result. After that, just talk of the pace around Hungary. I mean, people talk about the track limits. Of course, it's a very tough circuit. I mean, how tough is it to keep a car like that in those track limits, given the pace that you guys are going?
Thought about 2 corners for the track limits where it could be dangerous to get a lot of warnings. They got 0, but in the other corners I got so much.
Yeah. So it's sort of depending which corner that was. Was that like turn 11? Was it that just before the break?
I got a lot in when you go into sector 2, the right corner on the outside.
Right, I got you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, there you get warnings I did not know. So I got 2 or 3 already there. And yeah, in the middle of sector 2 again, the left and right, and
Yeah.
out of the right, I got a lot of warnings.
Yeah, I think if you just breach on that right-hand side, you can easily get a penalty, can't you? Because it almost throws you out, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Really? Yeah, yeah. Obviously,
For
yourself.
for the next race, I know it.
Yeah. We'll do it again. We'll run it again just to be safe. But yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously yourself, Sven, still up there dancing with the best of them. I mean, people would probably turn around and say, you know, that you're contender for F1 esports in the future. Are we ever going to see Sven Zerner battling it out to get back into the world of professional esports now? Is that the plan?
So far, not no. I absolutely have no time. Doing some business so far. And I have no time to really practice. That's why I don't even practice for these races. Normally, I do 1-2 hours at least, but I can't even.
I tell you what, I mean, you were a third place finisher in the world of professional esports, so you don't just lose quality like that, do you? I suppose, but no, I mean, fair play to you, Sven. You were up there certainly dancing with the. But credit to you, mate. A great finish and certainly a titanic battle. But are you going to be around next week? Are we going to be seeing Sven back on track next week?
What track will it be?
The next track, I believe, on my list. Jack, have you got the calendar?
No, I'm frantically searching for it.
Just like me. It's a mystery, Sven. That's what it is.
It usually depends on the track, but for this time I didn't like Hungary, but I did it as well, so maybe yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, we might see Sven next week then. Jack's just going to confirm it for us now.
Yeah. Where's the calendar? It is going to be, as far as Belgium, Spa.
Belgium, off to Spa. Do you like Spa, Sven?
Okay. It's okay. It's an easy one. I mean, you don't have to practice too much to be fast there, so yeah. And a lot of battling, so it makes fun.
Well, spoken like a true analyst there. So Sven Zerner, congratulations on a great race today, mate. And lucky not to get into the top end. The penalties did not help you whatsoever, but we'll look forward to seeing you back here again, I'm sure, in the near future.
Yeah, but that's are the races I'm looking for. Even if I don't have the speed, I have to say. I mean, I think I'm half a second off Jarno or something like that. But it's great to have some safety cars or something so I can battle it out.
Absolutely, and it's great for us to watch, and I think the viewers at home as well, which is absolutely superb. But great effort on you, mate, for doing what you did today, and look forward to seeing you potentially at Spa then next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sven. Thank you. Jack, do you want to take Ruben's interview?
Yeah, let's do that. Ruben, pleasure. You've been here for ages. I'm sorry for leaving you for so long, Ruben. But yeah,
Nah,
a good
don't
race
worry,
from
don't
you
worry.
today.
Yeah, thank you.
A great race from you today, actually, right in the mid pack, fighting it out all race long. Again, it was very, very hectic with the safety car and the sheer amount of drivers on the same strategy. I mean, but again, credit to you, right in there in a solid top 10 finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to overtake here. So we were in a pack. Safety car, I think, what's better for the other drivers than for me, because I don't expect it the safety car, so I think it fucked me a little. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, difficult race because I think today I have the pace to do better, but I also have Tomek with the book of the, like Jarno didn't see him Tonitza on Canada, so I have the same book, so I have a 5-second penalty also for overtaking him on safety car. So yeah, difficult race, but I keep finishing on points, so it's good for me to keep in these positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Consistency is absolutely key in ORL as well. Yeah, it was absolute chaos with the safety car as well, but still managing to score solid points. But as we were saying to Sven, we're heading to Spa next week, which is going to be, I think, a really great track for overtaking. So how are you feeling about Spa?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It will be a nice race for sure, because it's a very easy track to overtake, but maybe with the DRS and slipstream, it will be not as easy as expected. So yeah, maybe it will be a close battle with the
with Nico, Photon, and these guys. So yeah, it's gonna be a great race for sure.
Well, Ruben, thank you for waiting around for so long for this interview, and yeah, best of luck for Spa next week. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you scoring once again more consistent points.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you, Ruben.
Well,
So, just before I knock over to you, George, actually, I just want to say a massive thank you to the whole viewership of ORL, because we've just passed 2,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So thank you very much, everybody.
Woo! Yes, thank you everybody for that. That is absolutely that's a mammoth, I got to say. And bear in mind, we were 1.98k at the start of the broadcast, folks, which is absolutely unbelievable. So, well done everybody on achieving that feat. It's been absolute scenes. It means that 2,000 people saw me call the race early, which is not embarrassing at all.
Yeah.
Which is quite something. But no, honestly, unbelievable. I believe we've got a couple more drivers in here, of course, including Get Owned, who of course is back with us. Get Owned, can you hear me?
Yo. Hello.
How you doing, bud? You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'll tell you what, you're a bit of a mystery, mate. I've never once interviewed you, I don't think, but you've always been up there battling with the podium sitters. I remember last season it was yourself battling out with the likes of Barry Burham and Yada Watmere and Simon Vigang. It's great to see you back in A-Split, by the way. Just talk us through that race, mate. It seemed very chaotic. You were right in the thick of it, like I was saying to a couple of the drivers earlier. It was a mental race, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I bottled quali. That's why I started P12, I think. I mean, I could have started P10, but yeah, not worth it from P10. And I actually wanted to start on the hards, but I forgot. So I started on the mediums, but was fine, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I was on pace with the other guys, which was really good.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say as well, I mean, the safety car, I think, seemed to benefit you quite a lot, because obviously the restart, the cars sort of grouped together. You were able, some drivers were able to make changes. I mean, just talk us about that restart, because, like you say, we saw drivers sort of spilling out all over the place. Jarno had an issue with his limiter. It seemed to almost break down on him, causing him to go slow. And it just seemed to cause quite a lot of confusion. It was almost like Magello, like Jack, so correctly said, was so accurate in a sense, because the cars just seemed to bunch up on each other. And we almost saw like a four car battle down towards turn one. Just talk us through that. I mean, how crucial a restarts when it gets to that sort of point. I mean, how quickly can a race get turned around by that?
I mean, I want to say that it was actually the right decision to stay out during the safety car, because I was like, yo, I have 0 penalties, and the others probably have some penalties. So if I stay clean, I will probably jump up some positions. And yeah, most of the people decided to pit. Then I ended up in like P3, I think. And yeah, and the safety car restart, I mean, I saw Jarno half spinning there into the grass, and then I don't know, some people overtook him and they were like going side by side in the last corner, and then into turn one, I don't know, someone messed up. I didn't really see it. I just avoided the crash. I had to like go off track a little bit, and then I had to defend myself from Ruben, I think. But I managed to stay ahead, and then I was like P3, I think, and then I let the medium runners pass, so I can stick behind them and recharge my battery. And then I think Nicolas Matteo hit the rear of Sven Sörner, so he got front wing damage, and that was basically an easy position for me. And then I knew Sven had 18 seconds of penalties, and I think who was the racing point behind me actually?
Daniele, was it? Daniele Haddad?
Okay, yeah, I knew he also had a penalty, so I was just driving carefully so I don't get a penalty. So I knew they both have penalties, so yeah, I mean, I got overtaken by Daniele on the last lap, I was like, yo, I don't want to risk anything here.
No.
Let's just take the P3 safe home, and yeah.
Well, I got to say, it's great to see you battling again at the top end, Getone. Obviously, we got Spa next week, as Jack discovered for us. So, what are your thoughts going into Spa? Are you confident?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun track to race. You can easily overtake people. It will be a mind game probably of who is charging up the most ERS for the last laps. And yeah, let's see if I can drive in Split A next week. Yeah,
Well,
but it should be a fun race in Belgium.
Yeah, well, if you get into it, we'll look forward to certainly seeing you race amongst the top end indeed. But congratulations on all your efforts today, Get Owned, and we'll look forward to seeing you again, hopefully next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jack,
See you then.
See you.
Bye-bye.
See you, bud. Jack, do you want to take Alessio's interview?
Yeah, it's the final interview of the night. Alessio, you had a great race right up until the safety car came out, and then it went all wrong for you. But up until then, you were having a fantastic race. So just talk us through what happened at that safety car restart.
What happened? Unfortunately, it was my great mistake. I see you. Yeah, I think that I was in that moment in the best situation because I having the slipstream of Opmer, and yeah, a great opportunity to stay in his DRS, and yeah, because I managed to take again the theirs because I was in 20% of theirs, and yeah, I was. I had a little bit, yeah, I was a little bit in difficulty with theirs, and yeah, in the restart, I saw him spun, and the game, of course, told me to, yeah, told me to let pass him. I tried. I see that he slowed down for one moment, and yeah, in that moment I was in the worst situation for yeah, for a moment of other moment, and yeah, when I let him pass, of course I slowed down in the straight, and I had to defend the position to the drivers behind me. And in the braking of turn one, I lost the point of braking, and yeah, and then I lost the rear of the car. I tried to not spun, but yeah, the drivers had drivers behind was victim of my mistake, and I can't I can't do other that if not say sorry to everyone, because yeah, it was a great mistake that ruined not only my race, but I think the race of one or two other drivers. And yeah, I really shame for me, because in this race after the qualifying I was really happy, and yeah, I yeah, I tried to fight with Jarno for the victory until the last lap, but yeah, the safety car at the end, it was better that if not exit. Yeah, I don't know what yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, well,
only sorry to everyone, and stop.
yeah, it was it's a very mature attitude from you, Alessio. But even so, I think it was encouraging to see that you were staying on the pace with Jarno the whole way through, and had a real chance at the win today had that not happened. But yeah, Alessio, thank you for talking to us after such a tough race. But your pace is certainly right up there. I think hopefully, I think there's a win just around the corner for you. But thank you for talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alessio. Thank you. Well, Jack, scenes, I gotta say, I don't think we've quite had a race like that here in ORL. But nevertheless, always nice to have them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that had everything in it. I had obviously you had Jarno leading, getting a penalty, then a safety car restart that went totally wrong, and then Ben Saba winning a home race. So it had everything, and including you calling the race a lap early. That's my favorite part of the day.
Oh dear, yeah. You can
Guys,
count...
he had COVID. Give him a chance. He had COVID. Don't just let him away with it.
I'm a little rusty after having a week's break. Obviously, that's unbelievable. I've never done that before, Jack. I've got to say that's the first in the history of me commentating. Bear in mind that's over a year, which is unbelievable. So yeah, of course, hopefully we can put a pin in that and not do it again. I tell you what, we'll see what happens anyway in the future. Of course, we've got Spa next week, historic track, legendary circuit. We'll look forward to that one, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Spa is always brilliant in these cars. It's going to have a lot more overtaking, I think, a lot more slipstream effect than we saw today, because you've obviously got the Kemmel straight all the way down to Lake Com. You've got the long run towards turn 1. It is going to be fantastic. Blanchimont into the bus stop. There's loads of opportunities to overtake, but I think after Stewart's inquiries, possibly going to be win number 10 for Jarno Opmeer. But certainly, it was great to see Ben Sobel winning at home, because that win was so long overdue and so well deserved.
Yeah, it certainly was. Great to see it, and obviously congratulations to him on getting the win. Certainly in those scenarios. Of course, we don't know for sure whether that's going to be the case. Of course, Jarno's footage is going to be investigated, and we'll soon find out as to whether Jarno has actually won the race or not. Whether it'll make a difference to what happens on track, totally beyond the realms of speculation, at least for now, but I'm sure we'll have an answer for you at Spa next week, in which case, folks, if you haven't done so already, please leave a like to the video and also subscribe to the channel for more racing here at ORL. It's been an absolute pleasure calling this race for you, and we'll look forward to certainly next week for the drivers to be taking their way around the legendary circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. But until then, guys, take care. Goodbye.